up talking about political socialization. Now, if you guys have had sociology, you should know what socialization is. Can anybody tell me just what regular socialization is?
What type of environment you have?
Yeah. So it's just kind of like Sarah said, it's the environment in which you are brought up in and the things that you're exposed to. Chase?
Yeah, like the study of how people interact with each other. That's sociology.
That is sociology. Okay, which socialization is a big part of sociology. Okay, it's a completely human invention. All right, without humans, sociology would not exist. So when we talk about political socialization, we're talking about how Americans get their opinions. Since this whole unit is on public opinion, political socialization goes to how Americans get their opinions. So it mostly starts for most Americans where?
At home.
At home with their families. Very good. The exposure that you have to your parents and your parents' opinions have a very heavy bearing on how you're going to think about things. As you get older, later in life, like the age you guys are now and have been for 2 or 3 years, school, media, friends, peers, people you work with, they're also going to have an effect. And the thing is about political socialization is that it never ends. It never ends. It is a lifelong process that never ends. So just because you think one way about an opinion right now doesn't mean you'll think the same way in the future. Okay? So, like I said, it's mostly influenced in childhood. Childhood is where you get your ideas about race and gender, and typically when you begin to associate with a political party. You learn your political socialization really the same way you learn religion, if you learn religion. But it is cumulative in nature. Think of it like you're on a continuum or a spectrum. You start at one end and you end at another end. Okay? So it continually adds or takes away from over the course of your lifetime. Ideas can change, but you ever heard the expression, old dogs can't learn new tricks? It's kind of how it is with political socialization. Isaiah.
Sorry.
It's okay. So that's kind of how it is. Old habits die hard, and it's tough to get an older person to change their mind. Sometimes it's tough to get a young person to change their mind, but you're more likely to have those deep-seated, ingrained beliefs the older you are. Okay, old habits die hard, and sometimes people have a difficult time letting go of an old idea. So let's look at the different agents of political socialization. Family. Family is the first one. There you go. Got the Simpsons. I like Family Guy too, but there wasn't an appropriate Family Guy picture I could find. All right. Families, very important agent of socialization. Why?
Since you're around 1%.
Yeah, like as a child, they have a monopoly on your attention. They have it all. They have all your attention. Okay? So typically, I would like to hope that children trust their family to some extent. Okay? Now, there might be some exceptions why children may not have some family members that they trust. But I think we can agree that as a general rule, children trust their parents. As America has evolved, I don't want to say that we have become a nation where our children are brats, but our children are brats. Okay? I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to make that blanket statement, but for the most part, I will say it like this. Children in America are given an opportunity to have an opinion of what goes on in the family more than they have in the past. Now, I think that also depends upon the size of your family. Like, Sarah, how many brothers and sisters do you have? 5. If you probably very rarely get to say, "Hey, Mom, tonight we're having this for dinner," and you get to pick what's for dinner. Because then, what would that mean to keep it fair? The next 4 nights, somebody else gets to pick what's for dinner. So that would make it difficult. So family size definitely is going to play a role in this. And Sarah, I'm not picking on you. I think it's 1.
I get it.
Hello. Hey. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sarah, you needed in the guidance counselor, Mrs. Daniel, the young lady. Okay? But yeah, family are children are given more of opinion within the family setting. So what about you guys? Were you guys allowed to have an opinion in your family setting? Were you guys allowed to have an opinion about what the matters of the family happen? Like, where are you going on vacation? Did you ever get your opinion asked or anything like that? To an extent.
Yeah, I was allowed to give my opinion, but I had to be respectful about it.
Okay, absolutely. Alexis, what were you saying? Never?
Never.
Okay, I would say mom would like
Uh-huh.
include me.
Okay.
Like she would ask me,
Okay.
but then she already had her mind made up.
Sure.
So even if I said something like completely different, she'd be like, "Okay, well, we're still doing it the way I wanted to do it."
Smart mom.
I was just excited.
But it did get me used to like trying to be decisive about things a little bit more. So
Okay.
I guess it did help.
Like I said, that's just an example. It could be something as simple as what's for dinner, or what the family, what movie what the television watches. I'll be honest with you, I didn't have a television remote when I was really young. When we got a TV remote, I never touched it. I was not allowed. That belonged to my parents. Okay, and I watched whatever was on TV, whatever they were watching. Okay, I was never asked, hey John, what do you want to watch on television? That didn't happen. Okay, so that's just an example. All right, and it kind of is an American idea, egalitarianism. We're all equal. We all want to treat people the same. It's kind of one of the things our nation's known for. But it also has led to, a society where our children are more likely to have opinions, which is not entirely bad, but there are some drawbacks to it. Okay, so family, very important agent of political socialization. Next, as young kids get older, they begin to go to school. And at school, young kids begin to learn about the greatness of great Americans very, very early in life. You guys probably knew who George Washington was before you went to school, or at least in kindergarten. You knew who George Washington was. You probably had seen money and knew the pictures on the money. Maybe that was of interest to you. Like, why are these people on there? You knew about great Americans. At what age do you think you could recite the Pledge of Allegiance from memory? First grade, kindergarten? Okay. The United States of America is currently the only nation in the world that has something the equivalent to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And has been the only nation in the world since about 1945, when the Nazi Reich fell. And they also had something similar to the Pledge of Allegiance, only it was I pledged to Adolf Hitler. Okay? So, that is the kind of what school does. It teaches you about the greatness of early Americans. Many history courses, they don't even touch on things like the War of 1812 or the Filipino insurrection. These are things that are black eyes on America's history, because what happens in the War of 1812? Those of you guys that have me should know. Yeah. Huh?
We lost.
Well,
It was a tie.
It was a tie, but what happened?
We said that we win.
Was it the 7 Years War?
No.
No.
No, that's the French.
What happened to the White House in the United States Capitol?
Burn.
It was burned to the ground.
Right.
By who?
Jeffersonians.
That was a couple weeks ago.
The British.
The British. The British set it on fire and burned it to the ground. You don't hear much about that because you don't like to hear about that. We like to hear about the greatness of Americans. Okay, and the greatness of American power. And that's one of the things that school does. It teaches you to praise our country's political systems. So we focus more on great moments in history rather than telling the whole story. Like George Washington, great American, right?
Right.
Yeah, he was like 6-18 in battle. That don't even get you into a bowl game, if you're a football team. That's terrible. So, no other country has the equivalent to a pledge, and all of this is indoctrinated into American culture and American life. All right, at a very young age. School, very powerful. Plus, imagine being 5, 6, 7, 8 years old and you have a powerfully willed school teacher that has very strong opinions on certain things. Do you think that they could be an influence on you?
Definitely.
Without a doubt. Do you think I could be a powerful influence on you if I told you about how I felt about things? Potentially, okay? So that's why I don't do that. All right, a third agent is the mass media. I've had to update this over time since this stuff exists now. When I first started teaching this stuff didn't exist. So it has become, I don't even think people watch television anymore. They just get their news from this stuff, all right, which I guess has positives and negatives. But what the mass media does is they provide themes and images that affects people's perceptions of the world. It used to be people would tend to believe what they see on television and read in newspapers. But is all that information always accurate?
No.
Especially on these platforms. Okay? It's not always accurate information. So, just to give you some examples, if you were from, let's say, the Ukraine, you came to America and you turned on the television, just on a random channel, chances are you're going to see violence. You're going to see a lot of violence. You might see murders. Is America really that violent? Like to the extent that our television portrays it? Mm-hmm. No, without a doubt. It's not. But to outsiders, people think America is an extremely dangerous place. Really? An extremely dangerous place. People that are not from the United States see America as the most dangerous country in the world.
That's how we see like
I
China.
can see that.
Well, guys, I don't think you realize, most countries, it's against the law to own guns. They don't have the Second Amendment. Yeah. Everybody here has guns, and so therefore they see guns as dangerous. So it's a perception, all right? So, and then our television doesn't do a lot to do that. You randomly flip through the channels and you see movie Die Hard, you're going to think America's a pretty dangerous place, okay? So, well, there's
the best Christmas movie ever. Uh-huh.
Very, very good. Okay. Now, also with the advent of social media, the average citizen is able to put their 2 cents in, and it's not always the best. Okay. Sometimes the opinions can take hold, and they're not always accurate. All right. And especially between the two sides. The two sides simply cannot agree on what facts are anymore, it seems. Like there's 2 sets of facts, and that's impossible. A fact is a fact, okay? So just be wary of where you get your information from and the way in which you consume it, because the mass media is a very powerful factor in your political socialization. It will affect the way you feel about things. So just be careful what you watch. All right. Peers.
Is that Mario?
This is not Mario. You guys don't know what game that is?
Donkey Kong?
It's Donkey Kong.
Nope.
What?
No.
I can't see the game.
I can't see it. Kirby?
Crash Bandicoot.
No. What? Never played it.
It's old school. It's old school Tandy 1000 style game.
Is it Sonic?
It is not Sonic.
I can see how
The
it is.
Hedgehog?
What is it though?
It's Lemmings.
Huh?
Never heard of it.
Never heard of Lemmings?
No,
No.
sir.
All right, so there's these little animals. You guys ever heard of lemmings in real life?
No.
No.
You don't know what a lemming is?
Is it an animal? Can I search
All
it
right,
up
so-
real quick?
Yeah. So like if there's like a group of lemmings and one lemming jumps over a cliff, the rest of them will follow. They follow people. Okay.
That's why it's on there.
In other words, Most Americans are conformists. They are conformists. Is that a good picture?
Yeah. Well, no, it was actually all of them. It was like a cartoon stock of them all jumping off of a cliff together, like you were saying.
There you go. And that's real. They will do that in nature.
They look something
Are they still
akin to a
alive?
squirrel almost.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. But anyway, this was a game, and like you had to save the lemmings because they'll just walk, and like you had to manipulate the map to get them to go in a certain place, because they will just walk and they'll walk off the cliff. That's how the game. That's how the game. But because of the nature of our peers, like you are going to be friends with people that are already going to reinforce what you have in place. Typically, people are not going to trust others who have different thinking than them. It is not human nature to do that. You know, it's not like the Paula Abdul song, "Opposites Attract." Okay, that's very rare. All right, it's you're going to choose people to be around you that are going to reinforce what you already have in place, because we like conformity. We like this. We don't like. We humans want to avoid the drama, the disharmony that could come from that type of situation. So, you know, people, and then once you have those friendships, and your friendships occur, however, but once you have those friendships will. You're basically going to trust what your friends tell you. Otherwise, like, I'm not friends with people that I don't trust at all, okay? If I don't trust a person, then they're not my friend. I'm very picky over who's going to be my friend. You all right? You just stand up, walk around, and do something? All right. So, and I encourage you to be picky as to who you choose to be your friends as well. So, and also, you know, most Americans are conformists. Like, we're right. Apathy. You like see this face? It's the what? Meh.
Don't care.
Don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care. Whatever. As long as I'm not out of balance, as long as something's not personally detrimental to me, then I don't really care. That's America, okay? Most Americans are reluctant to speak out against the most popular prevailing opinion. Most Americans are. They want to go with the flow and be conformists. Now, in recent years, you see more and more people becoming nonconformists. More and more people speaking up for themselves and for their beliefs, which is totally fine as well. Okay? All right. But that's just, it's a very small percentage of the population compared to everybody. Most people, right here. Man. Okay? Like my brother. My brother lives in Wheeling. He is an engineer on the railroad. He makes pretty good money. I guarantee you he could not tell me who the vice president of the United States is. I bet my next paycheck on it. He does not care. It doesn't affect his person. It's like, as long as my paycheck is in my bank account every 2 weeks, I don't give a crap. That's my brother. He's apathetic. He doesn't care. Okay? I know he doesn't. He knows who the governor is because, he went to Woodrow. So did Jim Justice.
Yeah.
Like, he knows Jim Justice. I know he doesn't know who our senators are, and I bet $1 billion gajillion dollars he couldn't tell you who our House of Representatives members are.
I bet your brother's a pretty happy person, though.
He drinks a lot.
Well, I think whether you know about it or not,
well, but he's this is him. Oh, you have an opinion on this? No, I don't even know about it. That's pretty common, guys. It's pretty common. All right. But don't be like my brother. Okay, in multiple ways. Okay. All right, agents of political socialization, political institutions, and leaders. We as Americans look to our political leaders for leadership, for guides. They guide not only their own political parties, but our entire nation. Give you an example. After September 11th of 2001, people were scared. And we looked to our president, who at the time was George W. Bush, to lead us out of that crisis. And to a large extent, he did a pretty good job on the day of. He kept our nation calm. He didn't create panic. He said, this is what we're going to do. He tried to alleviate some of the anxiety. What causes anxiety? Fear of what?
Fear of the unknown.
Fear of the unknown. He did a lot to try to alleviate that anxiety by saying, this is who we believe have done it. This is the steps we're going to take to go get them. Now, we never did get him during his administration. We got him eventually. But, most Americans were confused about it. Who did this? Who was our enemy? Why did they do it? How are we going to deal with them? And when President Bush, George W. Bush, he gave a speech about those things where he identified the enemy, people listened to him. And in polls taken out after the speech, 9 out of 10 Americans agreed with President Bush. He had a 90% approval rating.
Whoa.
That never happened.
It's unheard of. Now, it lasted about 3 days, but it happened. Okay? Because in very desperate times, there's a picture of him giving the speech. In desperate times, people turn to our political leaders, our political institutions for guidance. All right? And sometimes they can succeed, and sometimes they can really fail, big time. All right? But that's an example of success. All right? I won't go there. All right, so another agent, very powerful agent in political socialization, is church. Church, or lack of church, or temple, or synagogue, or mosque, wherever it is you go. Religion has always played a very substantial role in people's political socialization. This is kind of where America stands when it comes to whether they think religion plays an important role in their daily life. And 53% of Americans say, yes, religion plays an important role in my daily life. And you can see it's up there amongst,
Venezuela.
some countries. It's not at the top, though. There's several ahead of it. But most of the ones ahead of it are third world countries, where, like Kenya, I think it's like 93% say religion plays an important role in their daily life. But these are all like first world countries. You can see like Great Britain, 21, less than 1 in 4 people in Great Britain. But you got to think, these are like the homes of like the Protestant Reformation, where they like just, for all the things, people can just do whatever they want. Religion in America is a little bit different. In Americans, as far as the first world nations hold on, it's one of the most faithful of the nations left. So, in America, most people do say that they believe in God, as you can see by this, at the very least, religion of some sort. At least half of Americans do think that they believe in God. Most people do attend church at least occasionally, in some form or another. Okay, so that means that a lot of people in America think that answers to our nation's problems can be found through prayer and through church. So that is definitely going to play a very important role in your beliefs, in your political socialization. Okay? So, America is home to the Great Awakenings, and that's why we have so many different denominations of different faiths all across America. There are some faiths that are 100% American, like Mormons, born in New York, with Joseph Smith. It's a 100% American religion. Okay, Baptists, John Smith in Jamestown, 1608. He made it up. So the Great Awakenings in America had a lot to do with the way people were socialized. Okay. Now, there are other agents of political socialization, but these are definitely your most powerful ones.
North Korea's not even on the list.
It's because religion is not allowed.
How do we pull North Korean citizens?
Yeah.
Well, they're not allowed. They have to worship the state. That's North Korean religion. They are killing people that practice religion in North Korea. Yeah.
I'm surprised about China.
There are some Hindus. It's close to India.
Israel surprised me the most. Like I imagine them to be so much higher.
You would think so.
Because like a lot of different religions, not just Christianity or
Yeah.
whatever.
The three
That would
main
be
ones.
surprising.
You would think.
You got the three main ones: Christian, Islam, Judaism.
Yep, in Israel. Yeah, you're right. Any other information you guys can glean from this?
I wonder what the big religious people believe.
They're probably Christian. There's also a lot of Hindu monks there too, and Buddhist monks. But Buddhism's not really a religion, so it's more of a philosophy.
Yeah.
Like, I also see that like South America is like a majority of South America is made up of
Uh-huh.
religious people.
A lot of Catholics. I mean, Argentina is where the Pope's from. It's only 35%. People losing faith more and more. Okay. Questions on political socialization? On the process of how you come by it and the different agents and how powerful they are? Okay, next time we will do political ideologies. So make sure that when you write your essay that you incorporate many, if not all, of these agents of socialization in your essay, okay, and how they affect you, and how you're affected by it, okay? All right.